Welcome back to This is Baseball. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. If you are new here, we're very happy to have you listening. If you've been here a while, thank you for continuing to come back. My name is Brandon Johnson. I'm the host of This is Baseball. A little bit of background about me if you are new here. I'm from Kansas City. I'm a Royals fan, and this podcast is me just giving my thoughts and my opinions about Major League Baseball or baseball really as a whole. It's a sport that I am very passionate about, have loved for most of my life, and I'm excited to get on here every week to share what I think about everything going on around the league. And we'll discuss topics. We'll spend a lot of time on the Kansas City Royals and the league as a whole. I may not get to every story that's out there, but we'll do what we can to get to most of them. You can reach me on Twitter at Branjaw, at BRANJAW. Follow me, interact with me. I'd love to see you there. Well, let's get into the show. So, opening week had a ton of storylines that we will get into, but I want to open this show the same way that I closed the show last week, and that is to discuss the stadium vote for Jackson County impacting the Kansas City Royals and Kansas City Chiefs, with the vote question 1 on the ballot today being a simple yes or no question. To paraphrase, yes, I want to extend the 3/8 cents sales tax, or no, I do not want to extend the 3/8 cents sales tax in Jackson County. If you vote yes, the Kansas City Chiefs move forward with the renovations that they proposed a couple weeks ago and commit to staying at Arrowhead and making Arrowhead a better venue for everyone involved. And if you vote yes for the Kansas City Royals' sake, they will move forward with their brand new baseball stadium in downtown Kansas City in the Crossroads District. If you vote no, then the Chiefs and the Royals both explore other options. Now, we're going to get into the vote because the unofficial final is in. But before we do that, going into today, I personally, and I think a lot of people, felt like the vote was going to pass. And I thought it was going to be very close, like a 51-49 in favor of yes. But the results were honestly very, very surprising. It was an overwhelming no by Jackson County voters. It was not even close. And as somebody that was on the yes side, I have to ask, okay, why was the vote no? Why was it not yes? And for me, I think it comes down to the voters not feeling like the Chiefs and the Royals had a clear enough plan as to what this vote was actually going to accomplish. Yes, it was going to give the Chiefs the opportunity to renovate Arrowhead. It was going to give the Royals the opportunity to build a new stadium downtown, but there were still a lot of questions about all of those things that were unanswered. There were additions and changes to the plans. There was the community benefits agreement that was rolled out pretty late in the process by the Chiefs and the Royals. And just as recently as a week ago, before the vote, when a lot of early voters or absentee ballots have already been taken, the Royals made a change to their plan downtown, where initially Oak Street was going to be closed off, but they changed it to where Oak Street would remain open. So there was just really a lot of, unclear plans, and I think that is largely why the public voted no, along with I think people just don't want to publicly fund the stadium, which is perfectly understandable. And I do think that there was a lot of misinformation out there, as there is with anything, and I think there were a lot of people that took that misinformation as fact. I also think that there was some insincerity on the no side, but ultimately I still don't think that that is why the vote got cast down. I think it's just down to we're not really sure about your plan. That was most of what I was seeing on social media tonight was we didn't like your plan. And for the Chiefs, now they obviously a few weeks ago proposed their renderings for a renovated Arrowhead Stadium, and as again being somebody that was for this vote on the yes side, I was completely underwhelmed by the Chiefs' proposal for their renovations. It was, nothing that they had proposed was really anything that was interesting to me. It was a lot of stuff that I felt like really should have already been done. And their plan with the space that Kauffman Stadium sits at now was really, really disappointing. And Mark Donovan, the president of the Chiefs, his answer to why, what are your plans to develop around Kauffman Stadium or around the Truman Sports Complex? And he basically said, paraphrasing, that the area wasn't worth developing around. So that probably didn't help. So I think for the Chiefs and for the Royals, it is obviously back to the drawing board. I don't necessarily know if this is, or I don't think rather that this is the end of the Chiefs and Royals in Kansas City. I don't think that either of them are going to up and relocate entirely. And when I say relocate, I mean like leave Missouri, not go to Kansas. I think it opens up the door for more possibilities, but just because one vote failed in Jackson County doesn't mean that they can come back with a better proposal with more time and a better plan and present that to the public to keep the Chiefs and Royals in Jackson County. But I do think it opens the door for the Clay County move for the Royals in North Kansas City. I think it opens the door for the Chiefs to go over to the Legends in Kansas like we spoke about. But we've got a long way to go because there's still really 6 years remaining on the lease in the Truman Sports Complex for the Chiefs and the Royals. So they can take a little bit of time, the Chiefs and the Royals, and come up with something better and more concrete than what was proposed and ultimately voted down tonight. Enough about the Royals' business off the field. It's time to get into the Kansas City Royals on the field because we have regular season baseball to get into, and I want to go over, the Royals have only played 5 games. They're 2-3. They hosted the Minnesota Twins over the weekend, dropped 2 out of 3 against them, and they are currently in a series with Baltimore. They have split the first 2 games with them, and the big story for me is the starting pitching. Starting pitching for the Royals has been through 5 games has been absolutely fantastic. So Cole Ragans pitched opening day. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts. Pretty good outing for Cole Ragans to open the season. Saturday against Minnesota, Seth Lugo went. New addition to the rotation. He went 6 innings, giving up 2 hits and no earned runs. So again, lights out by starting pitching. And through those 2 great starts, the Royals are 0-2. Now, fast forward to Sunday, the series finale against Minnesota. Brady Singer took the hill. Brady Singer is somebody that really has a lot to prove this year. Didn't have a great year last year. He wants to become the pitcher that he was in 2022. So to open the season, Brady Singer pitched 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. So phenomenal opening series by the starting pitching. Monday, another new addition for the Royals, Michael Wacha. Got the start, 5 innings, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts. Again, not terrible. Wish he could go a little bit deeper, but you'll take it. Now tonight, Alec Marsh got the start. Alec Marsh beat out Jordan Lyles for that final rotation spot. And Alec Marsh, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. So through 5 games, the starting rotation is looking very promising and look like they're going to give the Royals an opportunity to win some baseball games. Obviously, very small sample size. Now, tomorrow for the series finale in Baltimore, it is going to be Cole Ragans versus Corbin Burns. So a tall task for the Royals, but a tall task for the Orioles too. Cole Ragans has proven that he's got what it takes to be named, in the ace conversation in this league, and Corbin Burns is more than proven himself. So tomorrow, day game, can be a fun matchup, but not all great. The bullpen's been a little shaky. Chris Stratton had a rough go on opening day in the 9th inning. Couldn't, had some trouble with control, finding the strike zone, gave up a few runs. Will Smith on Saturday, again, new acquisition, going to be kind of the anchor of the bullpen. Didn't do all that well. And Royals offense took a little bit of time to really get going. They were having a lot of trouble with runners in scoring position and really have been all season. Thursday, opening day, they were 0 for 6. Saturday, they were 1 for 6. Sunday, 3 for 11. Now, Sunday, they won 11-0. So, not super concerned about that there. You'll kind of hard to be mad when you win 11-0. They hit 5 home runs on Sunday. They were 1 for 9 Monday night and 2 for 7 tonight. So, need to capitalize on the opportunities when you have runners in scoring position. Monday night, they reached base in the first inning with 2 errors and came up empty-handed. So just need to come through in those moments because your pitching so far has done its job. And the offense, I think, once it gets going, I think will match the pitching performance right now, and I think you'll get to see some competitive Royals baseball as the season goes on. And before we move off the Royals, I do have to highlight Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. is 8 for 16, so he's batting .500. He has 3 doubles, a triple, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base. An on-base percentage of .556 and an OPS of almost 2. So Bobby Witt Jr., obviously, again, small sample size, but living up to his contract, living up to the hype, and is just going to be a phenomenal player in a Royals uniform for the foreseeable future. So got a good one there. So, more to talk about opening week. The Yankees went into Houston to open their season with a 4-game series on the road. Now, obviously, the Astros and the Yankees have a lot of history recently where the Yankees just can't seem to get past the Astros in the playoffs. And obviously, Astros have been on kind of this dynastic run that you would expect the Yankees to be that team, but the Astros are the Yankees' Achilles heel. So, again, Yankees go into Houston, and the Yankees sweep Houston in the 4-game set. And you got to feel good if you are the Yankees. Now, it's 4 games out of the season, but to be able to beat the team that, you haven't been able to overcome immediately to open the season has to give you a big boost of confidence as a club and make you feel really good about where you're headed in this season. So big boost for the Yankees to start 2024. Now, obviously the Astros, clearly you don't want to start 0-4, but jumping into Monday night, the Houston Astros got to move on from this series against the Yankees and welcome the Toronto Blue Jays to town. And Ronel Blanco took the hill for the Astros in what was his 8th start of his career and threw a no-hitter. The Astros won 10-0. Ronel Blanco went 9 innings, 7 strikeouts, and 2 walks to give the Astros their 17th no-hitter in franchise history. So Astros are feeling pretty good right now, in spite of opening the season being swept. But the Astros weren't the only team to be swept in their opening series of the season. The Tigers swept the Chicago White Sox. The Detroit Tigers are kind of one of those teams in the AL Central that are up and coming and honestly could be a threat to win the Central if things go their way. The White Sox are projected to be just miserable this season, so not surprising that they went winless to open the season. The Pirates swept the Miami Marlins. The Pirates last season got off to a hot start in the NL, and in May, we're leading the NL Central, so maybe it's just a hot start and they'll come back to earth, or maybe they're for real. But Brewers and Mets also met each other this weekend. The Brewers swept the Mets. And while the Brewers swept the Mets, the biggest story that came out of that series was the beef between Jeff McNeil and Rhys Hoskins. Rhys Hoskins, a new addition to the Brewers. So here's the story. Rhys Hoskins, he was on first base, and a ground ball was hit to third. Third baseman throws to Jeff McNeil. They're trying to turn 2. And Jeff McNeil is covering second base. And Rhys Hoskins comes in with a slide that is a little late. And honestly, it was kind of a bad slide. But kind of takes out Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil takes exception to this slide. He gets up and he's yelling at Rhys Hoskins about how he slid into him and, who knows what. Rhys Hoskins just kind of runs back to the dugout. But it's a little silly because, I think Rhys Hoskins' slide, it was bad, but I don't think there was any malicious intent behind it. But it was honestly a slide that, back in the day would have just been another Tuesday in Major League Baseball, a hard slide into second, player gets called out or gets called safe, and, they both dust off and go about their day. But Jeff McNeil decided to whine about it, and of course, in classic Major League Baseball fashion, the benches cleared, and really everybody just stood around. But my only thing with Rhys Hoskins was he waited to say anything until he was back in the dugout. I kind of wish that they would have had a a face-to-face on second base rather than what it actually was. But not a big deal, but I love to see some juice between some teams early in the season, but Jeff McNeil needs to get over it, and it's baseball. And Rhys Hoskins is a former Philly, so Phillies and Mets kind of have a little bit of a history, obviously, so he kind of brought that Philly mentality over to the Milwaukee Brewers. And staying on the Phillies and Braves met over the weekend, and this was fun. Obviously, the Phillies and Braves have a history where the Phillies, the last 2 seasons, have knocked the Braves out of the postseason in the division round. But both of their seasons opened up in Philadelphia, and the Braves took 2 out of 3 against the Phillies. And I think what was kind of fun about this was Michael Harris, the Braves center fielder, going at it with fans on social media. I love the rivalry that the Phillies and Braves have built up over the last few seasons, and I honestly think that it's fun whenever players can kind of playfully go back and forth with fans on social media. It's good to see because there's juice in the rivalry, and that will bode well for both teams as they will obviously match up many more times as the season goes on, and hopefully we get a part 3 in the postseason with these 2 teams. And for the Phillies tonight, Bryce Harper hit 3 home runs, one of them being a grand slam. So he had a great night tonight, as he typically does. Bryce Harper is clearly one of the best players in the league, and tonight he showcased that that's still true in 2024. Let's talk some Dodgers, because I haven't really had a chance to talk much about the Dodgers, the new look Dodgers, the Shohei Ohtani Dodgers. They opened the season against the St. Louis Cardinals. They had a 4-game series against them, and I'm pretty sure all 4 of those games were on national television because the new Dodgers are the greatest thing since sliced bread. The Dodgers won 3 out of 4 against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals actually, the one game they won was in extra innings, and they were able to get Shohei Ohtani out to end the game with bases loaded in extras. But Dodgers won 3 out of 4, and they have already taken 1 game from the Giants and are leading the Giants right now. So honestly, for the Cardinals, not a fun way to open your season, knowing that that's a tough series, tough team that you're going to have to go up against, and especially when you, being the Cardinals, are a team that are trying to get on the right track after having a really disappointing 2023 season after being very successful for the last 2 decades. And I think most teams that run across the Dodgers this year, which is obviously everybody just because of the new balanced schedule, it's not going to be an easy task, because it's an all-star cast, an all-star pitching staff, an all-star lineup each and every night. So it's never going to get easier for the opposing teams against the Dodgers. It's obviously inevitable that the Dodgers are going to win the West. It's more about what can the Dodgers accomplish in the postseason. I got a couple more things before we get out of here. I have not had a chance to talk about the Seoul series that was in South Korea that the Dodgers and Padres opened up the Major League Baseball season with towards the end of March. But I feel like the Seoul series, while it's a cool idea to have Major League Baseball go international and showcase their league in other parts of the world, they do it in London. They're planning on doing it in London again this year, and I think that's at some point in June. And I like the idea of going to Seoul and going to South Korea and playing games there. I don't know if I like the idea of it opening your Major League Baseball season. I don't like the idea of it being the first games that get played a week before anybody else plays a regular season game, and it's at 5 a.m. in America, so not a lot of people are going to be watching it anyway, so the opening of your season was missed by many, many people. So I think the opening of your season should just be at each of the teams, ballparks in America or Toronto, and then save your international series for, June or July. Now, I want to close on this. I have talked about the Oakland A's and their stadium situation where John Fisher and the A's are looking to move to Las Vegas. Now, I talked about the A's being in a situation where this is their last year of the lease at the Coliseum, and they're going to need to look to either extend the lease with the city of Oakland or look elsewhere for a temporary place to play while your Vegas stadium is getting built. And this is from Casey Pratt of ABC 7 in the Bay Area. He said, the city of Oakland has offered the Athletics a lease extension for the Coliseum. This would be a 5-year lease with an opt-out after the 3rd year. The A's would have to sell their stake in the Coliseum. It would grant Oakland 1 year of exclusive rights for the city of Oakland to solicit owners for an MLB expansion team, or leave the A's colors, name, and franchise history in Oakland, or facilitate sale of the A's to a local ownership group. So it would that part of it would give the city an opportunity to retain a franchise in one form or another. Now, along with the city of Oakland making their pitch to the Athletics, the Athletics are also meeting with Sacramento this week as well to discuss the possibility of making that their temporary home until Las Vegas is ready. And from everything I'm seeing again from Casey Pratt of ABC 7 in the Bay Area, that it looks like a decision could be made by the end of this week as to what's going to happen there, which this is all faster than I thought it was going to be. I knew obviously it had to be this season, but if that decision is made, I will obviously bring that to everyone next week. But again, very busy week this week, a great opening week. I'm very pumped and excited for the 2024 season because I think it has the ability to be one of the best. But that's all I have this week. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I will talk to you next week.